Peace, y'all. This is Empress Coach Rena Nicole, and this is season 2 of the one and only, often imitated, never duplicated AM Inspiration Show. To wake that ass up, period. Yes, today we are talking about defining friendships, and we do have a special guest here, Miss Black from Inside USA, and we're gonna get right into that after we do this drop and we go right into the intro. With that being said, keep in mind we are streaming live from all platforms, so share up, ping up, bring some friends in, share that link, and let's get it. Period. All right, peace, y'all. This is Empress Coach Rena Nicole, and we are here at the AM Inspiration Show to wake that ass up consciously, physically, spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially, and soulfully. With that being said, I want to welcome our guest to the stage, to the show. Hi, Miss Black. How you doing? Introduce yourself, your website, everything that you're about. What's up?
Rosa. I'm from the Black Femicide Prevention Coalition, formerly known as Black Femicide US. What I do is track the murders of Black women and girls across the US. This is personal research that has grown into something bigger than what I originally intended it for. So and I'm a mental health nurse by profession as well, and a mom of 4 daughters.
Yes. So thank you for that. So I'm so happy that you're here. Can you give us your website, please?
I'm on Facebook at this time at again Black Femicide Prevention Coalition. My email is blackfemicideus@gmail.com.
Thank you for that information. Now, with that being said, so we are kicking off season 2 with our intimate partners and familiar relationships. That's what the whole season is going to be about. But like I said, when we ended season 1 in our finale, that we were going to kick it off with Friendship Week. Now, we did not know that something would unfold so big in the media, which a lot of us, because I am a Black woman now, so a lot of issues that do come up on this podcast will focus on Black women because I'm a Black woman, right? So we did not know that something would unfold so largely that we wish would unfold with every single case. So with that being said, I'm going to, we're going to talk about Miss Shanquilla Robinson and the case of the young business lady who went to Mexico with her friends and ended up being murdered. With that being said, today's podcast is about friendships and how to be a friend. So we're going to go into some conversations around how to be a friend, and then we're definitely going to go into the femicide aspect of the conversation, because a lot of people don't even understand what femicide is. They're having trouble understanding with this case, why they're not charging it as a homicide and different things like that. So with that being said, Miss Black, if you want to clear that up for people that don't understand that.
Okay, the reason that they are classifying it as a femicide is because it is a woman that's involved in Mexico and South America in general. And actually, we could just even go so far as to say globally. But since we're talking about a crime that happened in Mexico they have a problem, a very high rate of women and girls being killed in their country. And so, with that being said, they will categorize something, a homicide of a woman or girl, initially as a femicide or gender based homicide because of her gender. The reason they do that is because a lot of the murders are domestic, or as you stated earlier, intimate partner or familial type. So they will initially classify it as a femicide. And then when they find out the particulars behind it with investigation, they will eventually just change it to a generalized homicide. But in general, a femicide is a murder of a woman or girl, specifically uh, based on the fact that she is a woman or a girl. And you will find that even within the United States and globally, many times women will be killed because they are women, because they are in a domestic violence type situation, which again is gender based. Women and girls have usually you will find that there's a of different types of reasons why they are murdered. And usually, as I stated, domestic violence, because they did not want to date someone, because they wanted to no longer be with someone, because as a friend of mine who also runs a femicide organization, her name is Dawn Wilcox with Women Count USA. She has dubbed a particular term called corrective femicide. And that can go relate to what I said, because a woman no longer wants to be with someone, because she turned them down, because it could be a sex based reason. So, again, that would make it classified as a femicide because of the very particular reasons why a woman or girl is targeted, as opposed to a general homicide.
Hmm. And thank you so much for that. I just want to say welcome to Time. Thank you for being here. Yeah, because I remember when I was watching the Chronicles on YouTube and she was explaining it, and a few other people, and I'm like, why are they classifying it as a femicide, not a homicide? And I'm close to you, and I being so, a little I want to say delusional. What's the oblivious to the fact of why they would do that, and not knowing the statistics of the the femicide rate in Mexico. So now, thank you so much for dropping that bomb, because it opens up that Pandora box. Like, oh, this is why there's I heard there was a warrant for Deanna, Deshauna. I think that's her name, Deshauna. Deshauna, there's an open
Yeah,
warrant for her through Interpol right
De,
now.
yeah, Dejana, I think that's how you pronounce
Dejanay,
her
yes,
name.
Dejanay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Dejanay. Yes, there is currently a warrant for her arrest, and Mexico is seeking extradition of her back to Mexico to face those charges. Of course, we know that they really dropped the ball on this case, because those people should have never been allowed to leave Mexico. And a lot of people are saying different things. And again, we have to, this is the problem a lot of times with Americans. They have a frame of thinking, or we have a frame of thinking, that the world operates in much the same way that we do in America. Now, mind you, America is very lax when it comes to the murder of Black folks in general, and it just defies logic to me why Black folks are so puzzled as to why Mexico um, let this case happen the way it did. Well, we're talking about a country that has a high rate of femicide, which means obviously they're not doing a good job with their own people within their own country. You're able to pay off officials in that country. Now, I'm not saying that there was an exchange of money with those particular people involved in the Shanquella Robinson case, but it would not surprise me if it did happen. But they don't operate the same. Why there was questions as to why she wasn't transferred to a hospital. In Mexico, it's not uncommon for tourists to be treated with house calls on resorts. Mexico is not like if we travel to Canada or say somewhere in Europe, and we could use our insurance in those countries. Mexico operates totally different. It's a cash up front thing. You just can't go to the ER. Of course, if you're in a roadside accident or something to that effect, but it's a whole different type of system and a lot of red tape when it comes to getting to a hospital over there. So, again, we have to get outside of an American frame of thinking when we're talking about a country in Latin America, South America.
Period. Period. So, hey, Miss Tom, anything you want to add to that? Any questions you have about Miss Black and about how they're handling the case or anything with femicide? Welcome.
No, that all sounds like really good. I hadn't thought about the whole aspect that Miss Rosa brought up about the fact that these places, they're like very big on femicide and exploitation of women. I mean, it's so obvious, but I didn't even think about it as it relates to the situation with Shanquella and the murder that occurred there. I mean, there that is basically, it seems to be the case for black women worldwide, like even in this country where we do have more protections, that black women, black femicide, um, crimes against black girls and women and even children or men, anybody black, is just not taken seriously. It's not reported upon widely in the media. But yeah, it is like, you know, even taking it to another level, to go to a country like that where women are generally regarded as subhuman potentially, or like, just it's just not something that they deal with or they have infrastructure set up to deal with. So I don't have anything else to add. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. I just, I was listening to the case, and I was thinking about how they said that they stole $10,000 from this girl. Hello, they stole $10,000 from her, and then another $17,000 was taken from her. No, she paid $17,000 for the villa on her own. I guess they supposed to have paying her back when they got there or something like that. But they stole $10,000 from her. So when they found her on her persons, like when they brought her luggage, her money wasn't there. Her stuff wasn't, like, certain things wasn't there. It wasn't accounted for, but it was seen that it was gone. So I'm like, was this the whole motive? Was that the whole thing? Like, they was like, oh, she paid for it. We're not going to pay her back. So let's kick her ass, in Mexico, and punk her for her money. There's so many things you could think of, but when you think of why this happened, would that be one of the reasons you would think that it was all about money and jealousy?
Yeah, I would think that I personally, and this is just my own personal opinion, just from listening to the mother, the father, um, I do think that there was an element of jealousy there. I believe the mother mentioned that her money was missing, as well as certain items were missing from her luggage when that guy brought her luggage to them or to the mom. So it's so hard to say because, you know, again, we're just really going by the accounts of what the mother and the fathers are saying, as well as these reports that kind of conflict that the Mexican police released, as well as the autopsy. There's a lot of conflicting information. And of course, the people who were there with her, they are not speaking. We have not heard them. Now, I did hear the other day that Winter Donovan supposedly went on live on Instagram or something and kind of gave her just said something to the effect that yeah, her neck was broke, just very callous, and that's alleged because we don't really know if that was Winter Donovan. She was the fair skinned
Mm-hmm.
young woman. Now I don't know. People are saying that she's not black. They're saying she's Dominican or Puerto Rican. I don't know how true it is because she could be a fair skinned black person. And it just, it's neither here nor there, but I just find it odd sometimes whenever it's a fair skinned person, people want to classify them as non black all the time. I don't know if she's actually Afro Latino. I don't know if she's actually, you know, biracial. I don't know what she is. She presents to me as a light-skinned black woman.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, that's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is the father stated on the North Carolina Beats blog show, uh, and his interview I'm sure is still up. He stated that that video that had went viral, there is an extended version of it, and in that extended version that the father saw, he said Winter actually picked his daughter up by the neck and slammed her on the floor, and she didn't move anymore. This is
Yep.
not, that's not a rumor or anything. The father actually said that in that interview. So, um, I believe if that's what he saw and his daughter didn't move anymore, then Winter Donovan was actually the one who dealt the death blow, as opposed to the other person, Dejanay, who we all saw fighting her. And I do want to bring up colorism, okay? I'm going to have to bring up
Mm-hmm.
colorism. It's very strange to me, and not trying to remove any guilt from Dejanay, but I just find it odd that the dark-skinned black woman
Is being
is the
charged.
one is the one who's being charged, who
Mm-hmm.
everyone has seen that video and everything, but the father actually saw the light-skinned person, black woman, whatever she is. Why I still have to say this is still colorism involved in this, and we have a lot of issues in our community that we really don't want to deal with. And I'm not saying that that Dejanay lady is is innocent by any means. She's just as guilty, because if they all tag team this girl in a fight, they're all wrong. But I just find it you know very odd that the dark-skinned black woman is the one who's really being pushed as the monster in all of this.
Yeah, so I definitely want to respond to that. I have it right here. I do have Winter Donovan. I plan on playing it after we go into the conversation about friendships and defining friendships. I do plan on playing the clip from her voice actually saying, very coldly and mindlessly, like she could be Michael Myers' mother up in this bitch. Period. Okay. I did see the other video where she slammed her to the ground and she was no longer moving. Okay, so I do feel like she's the one that inflicted
Oh, you saw
the
that
death.
video?
The video is out. You got to go through YouTube real hard. You got to search real hard. I'm gonna go through my clips again and see if I can find the one.
Wow.
I saved a lot of them and send you the link,
I,
but it's definitely
I
on YouTube.
I
Yes.
did not know that, because the father, you know, the way
I don't
he
think
was
they want to
talking.
show him. I think that's what it is. I think a lot of people don't want to send him that link, but I'm sure
No,
now,
no, no, no,
by now
no.
he's seen it because I seen the
The
interview you
father
talking about.
said
I
he
watched it for
saw
an
it.
hour.
The
Hmm.
father said he saw that video. He was crying and he broke down.
Yeah.
It's somebody that knows them that sent him this video, but the
Well,
father has actually
well,
seen the video.
what are they calling them? The Cabo Six. One of the Cabo Six was recording it. The girl. One of the girls was recording the whole thing. Okay.
Right, but
And one of
the
the guys were
father said
recording the whole thing as well. So, but in America, like the girl was saying in the Chronicles, that American law, you can be charged with first degree just by being there. Not sure if that's the same way in Mexico though. So that's the thing. People are mad. They're saying all of them should be charged with first degree. Intentional homicide. Premeditated homicide. But we saying that's American law. That's not Mexico law. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
So
we have
there
to
would
keep saying
right.
that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to keep saying that. We have to get out of this frame of thinking about American justice. American justice, we don't get justice as black folks in America. So I'm trying to understand why, again, this is where that American privilege starts to come in, and black folks do have somewhat of an American privilege, and you can see it in these conversations that are being had, because now they're realizing that, well, we're Americans, we shouldn't be treated like this outside of this country, but we get treated like crap in America, but you expect better treatment in a so-called third world country. It defies logic.
Period. Period. you know, um, and I thought about the colorism aspect, but I was so angry that she just was beating up on a defenseless woman that I just want everybody to pay. You know what I'm saying? Even though the colorism aspect probably does play a major role because why everybody wants to see her suffer the most, I want everyone to go down for this, because literally they asked her would she fight back and she said no. At the point where you're telling somebody you won't fight back, you're supposed to back off of them. It's no longer a fight now. It's definitely like it's already an assault. But when somebody say fight back and the person that's being beaten, assaulted on says no, it's definitely an assault. That's like abusing a child or abusing somebody that's defenseless. And if they're claiming that she was intoxicated, which she obviously was not, okay, they literally assaulted her and they murdered her. And they all stood by and watched. With that being said, welcome to everyone that's listening in. Don't forget to share, ping some people in. And I want to talk about friendship. Let's get into the conversation around friendship and defining friendship, because we just started opening up that Pandora's box on Miss Shanquilla's case, but I think it was so ironic that this was going to be our opening for the season in Friendship Week, right? So I do want to ask the question, if you're here, if you're listening in, whether you're listening on YouTube, Clubhouse, Facebook, wherever you're listening in at, the question to y'all is, what defines a friend? Please put that in the comments, or unmute your mics, come off your mics, raise your hands, come up to the stage and let us know. If you're already on stage, let us know what you define a friend, and then we're going to go into the logistical matter of what define friendships by my coaching notes and different things like that. With that being said, the mic is open. Unmute your mic. Let's go. Period. And if I was talking too fast, the question was, what defines a friend to you?
For me, a friend is somebody who is there for you, not just in good times, but they're there through the good and the bad. They have always supported you and the different aspects of your life. They're someone who you can depend on to talk to, a shoulder to cry on, somebody to, bounce ideas off of, someone who you can trust to give you an honest answer when, there are things that you go to them for. So, and they've proven themselves time and time again. I'm not with this new trend of just calling friends just because you might work with somebody. That doesn't mean they're your friend. This might be somebody your homegirl knows, but you don't really know her. That's not your friend. This has to be somebody that you can unequivocally say that you know them inside and out and what they would do. And that this is somebody you could trust out of your eyesight as well as a person that's in front of you.
Ooh, killed it. Right. Period. I like what you said, the someone who can, be transparent and honest and authentic with you. Inauthenticity is not really a sign of friendship, right? So if anyone else wants to comment on that, I'm definitely going to go in after. I just wanted to say thank you for that response. That was really good, and that was great to set the foundation of the conversation. So the floor is still open. If not, we're going to jump right into it. So literally, when you think about like, okay, how do I define a friend? What is the definition of a friend, right? So the definition of a friend for most people is someone who is there for you throughout your daily existence, right? And they make sense of everything, right? They help to make sense of everything that's going on in life, okay? And and then you ask yourself like, okay, so if that's the definition of a friendship, what makes a good friend or what makes a bad friend, and what constitutes these things, and the whole gray area in between, so you really had to think about it. So a friendship is literally someone who you share close affections with. You share some common beliefs, and you have the same values and principles and moralities with your friends, right? You don't have to have the same hobbies or activities or careers, but those values, principles, and morals are the three things, that keeps you aligned, because that goes into respectability politics, um, you know, uh, just how you show up in the world, even unfortunately classism, unfortunately, but that's still a part of those principles, ideals, and different things like that, right? So a friend is someone who you trust and enjoy being around. One more time for the people in the back. A friend is someone you trust and enjoy being around. You know, if you ever have to question someone's friendship, and it's not just based off your insecurity, it's based off a fact, that's not your friend. Hello? You know, like, I just want to say that one more time. If you ever had to question some shit like that, that's not your friend, period. You don't have to explain yourself to your friends. I remember, like, when I was first started, like, not just to use us as example, but like when I first started, building a friendship with her, and it was some things going on. I'm like, listen, you ain't ever gotta explain yourself to me because I trust you, and nothing she has done has ever compromised my trust with her. I'm not a very trusting person, so like, it's nothing she's done has ever compromised her trust with me because of her integrity, right? Because of how she shows up with me, because how she shows up in the world, because of her morals and her principles, and mine and hers are aligned. And this is why we can build a friendship, because there's that alignment there, right? And a lot of people don't have that. That's why they say, oh, all the women I align with, I don't get along with them. Or, all the brothers I hang out with, I can't mess with them like that. I can't trust them. It's because your principles and stuff don't align together. So you get mad when they still, like, if they do something to you, they steal your man, or they do things to you, that's not in alignment with something that a person of integrity or something with your principles would have. So why do you say that, Empress, right? I say that's because everybody's principles not the same. Some people live by a different code or a different creed. Like, what Cedric the Entertainer say? He said, Black people, we live by a different creed. Okay? Some people live by a different creed where some shit that you would never do is completely okay with them. It's completely okay with them. So they have friends that align with that because they know they always live in foul. To us, it's living foul the way we see it, right? Because we don't live by that creed, right? But the creed we live by might be like, oh, y'all square, or, you're corny, or something like that, because we live by integrity. But to them, they are living by integrity. That's their integrity. That's their level of integrity. Like, getting in how they live, not really respecting or not really showing up. And when you align with people and they show you that mask at first, that these are people of quality, and the quality, you start seeing that it's only great value from Walmart, start falling apart and shit. And then you're like, oh, damn, this person was a backstabber, betrayed. No. They was always that way. They was always that way. And you ignored all the signs. So now you're mad. Hello? Now, that's not to gaslight anyone that's been, like, extremely hurt, because I know we all been extremely hurt by people we called our friends. I'm not gaslighting. What I'm saying is that you have to realize when people don't align with your way of living, your quality of life, your principles, your standards, your morals, and your ideals. If anyone want to come on that, just jump right on that. Just jump in and comment on that. Because I know I said some powerful things, and we're going to jump right back into the logistics of what is a friend. No, y'all good? Right. So, like I was saying, like, some friends are casual, and we talked about this yesterday, that you can have those friends that are casual, you talk to them sometimes, and those friendships are not as strong. And that's what I was really hitting on, but I didn't want to give away all the tea yesterday. I didn't want to pour it out and let y'all drink it a lot. So, dun, dun, dun. Period, right? So the more close you are to your close friends, you can rely on them emotionally. So, and what I was seeing yesterday was that those friends that you don't speak to for a long time, sure, you can hang out together, have fun, still go shopping, and create things together, but you're not emotionally connected to them like that anymore, because it was like along the way some sort of trust was broken in that link. It wasn't like, oh, I hate this person, I don't love this person, but it's like you knew deep down inside that you could not go to that person anymore for that level of emotional security, right? So that's why they're like, okay, that's still my friend, and we close, but that's not my close, intimate friend where I share the intimate details of my existence anymore. Because we are not that, they're just a casual friend. They come in and out of my life, and that's what I was meaning yesterday. I know y'all probably wondering, like, why she didn't go in on it, because I didn't want to give away all the tea, right? So, and those type of friends, once you talk to them, it's like time has never went past. Like Miss Time said yesterday, she said, and Miss Black also said, Miss Rosa also said that when you speak to those friends, it's like nothing has ever passed between y'all. It's about the dynamics. It's about the level of what you establish with them, which I wholeheartedly agree on. It's about that relationship that foundation you built with them. Like, you know what, we're always going to be busy. We're always going to be living these lifestyles where we're not always together, but at heart, we're always together. We're always talking. We're always, when we can, we're always, connecting emotionally when we can, and supporting each other when we can, even if we don't see each other, or even if we don't talk to each other a lot, right? So That's more of a close friendship that where like say for instance, like if you moved away or your job took you someplace else, or just family dynamics had taken you away from them. That's more so of still having that bond than someone that's just literally casually just dropping in and out of your life every 3 years and saying that you're their best friend. That's weird, right? Okay. um so when you think about good friendships, I like to call them kindred soul tribes, actually, but we'll get into that on a whole nother day. We'll talk about that next week sometime, maybe Wednesday. That you have those good friends, and you can they can stand the test of time with you, and they are necessary in your existence, right? The relationships are made from mutual respect and understanding of each other's well-being, right? You have those friends that you don't never want to lose, so you won't ever do anything to compromise their friendship. you know um and we have these conversations around when we're making friends as adults. It's hard because you already have all the baggage, you already have all the damage that's there. And a lot of people have probably maybe healed from their damage, or they don't even recognize their damage. So they see your damage as something too heavy for them. They don't want to be your friend. There's all types of reasons why it may be harder to be friends with as adults, and why we hold on to friendships that don't make any more sense anymore. You know what I'm saying? Anyone have the experience of holding on to a friendship that didn't make sense anymore, but just because it was familiar to them, they just like, you know what, I'm gonna keep it anyway, and I'm gonna keep pouring into it no matter what. So that's the next question for y'all. Anyone have that experience? Please come off mic and share it with us. Thank you.
I want to say this. Um, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but we can see a lot of the way people interact with their friends. Sometimes they have that same personality in their relationships. I'm going to use me for an example. Yesterday, I had mentioned that I'm the type of friend, I'm a very, um, I'm a loner type person, but I do have friendships. My friendships are of the nature that you said, where, it might be some time where we don't talk, but when we talk, it's like we talked just the other day. And again, now these are relationships that I have established over years, but they are friendships nonetheless. Even as I'm talking to you about my friendships, I'm noticing that that's how I am in relationships. I'm a person who I can't deal with a person who's clingy, because there are times when I go into my, mode where I just need my time alone. And that's even the way I deal with my friendships. I'm your friend. I'll be there for you. I'll drop whatever I'm doing, whatever you need, I'm there. And that's even how I am in my relationships. I need my space. Don't bother me. And sometimes people that's something that people need to evaluate and look at. Um, is the way that I'm in my friendships the same way I'm in my relationships? Why is it that my relationships are stronger than my friendships, or vice versa? Usually, if you have strong friendships, you probably have the same type of dynamic in your relationships.
I definitely like that, and thank you for sharing that. That makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of people need to recognize that. Not even a lot of people. I think that I relate to that. That's all. I think. Well, not even. I think. Let me stop playing around with y'all. Let me be more transparent. I love being. I'm transparency queen. I'm very honest and authentic. But when I was married, I think that was an issue with my marriage, that I was very okay with being alone, even though I was like a new mother, having babies, and I was like, okay, I got this. You know what I mean? Like I'm one of those people. Like I got all this. Go ahead to work. Bye. I got all this. You know. And if I need my friends, I'll call my cousins in or whoever I need to call in to come help while you're at work. Really don't need your help. And that person was like, they felt so like I was just so disconnected. I think that that's a part of my own personal trauma, and or how I like to experience people. I feel like that sometimes people like easily, when you're an empath or like a spiritual worker, you can easily be drained by a lot of people. But I also can feel like I can be draining to people when I get into my modes where I want to communicate a lot as well.
Yeah,
So, it has to
yeah,
be a balance with that with me. Um, And me having a podcast is definitely a balance because I don't have to communicate that much with people anymore because I can communicate on the podcast, No, I'm just playing. But that's just a means for me to get out that energy though. That like that back and forth energy that I, love so much. And some people have that love language of words of affirmation or that communication love language where they feel loved by someone communicating with them in healthy ways, like by their intimate partner relationships. And I think that it's all about balance. Now, someone's always wanting communicating, always wanting to be in your presence. That can be quite annoying. But some friends feel like if that's not how their friends want to be, then they're not their friends. They're not loyal, and that's crazy. I believe that's crazy because I believe that if I can't take you anywhere and introduce you to my friends without you embarrassing me, then are you really my friends and do you really have my best interest at heart? You get what I'm saying? That's the type of person I am. That's the way I think. That if I can't take you anywhere and introduce you to people without you acting out and acting clingy and selfish over me, then are you really someone that has my best interest at heart? Are you really someone that's mature enough to be my friend? Do you actually love me or are you just in here for selfish reasons? Now, what do y'all think about that?
Um, I'll let time go ahead and go first.
What do I think about? Sorry, reiterate.
No, I was just asking a question about the friends that don't want you to have other friends.
Oh no, I mean that sounds controlling. And why would you want to dictate who I'm friends with or isolate me? That's
Yeah,
weird.
I don't think that's healthy, but I do know that that's a lot of like, you see memes everywhere. You see memes everywhere and they're programming the minds of people, especially our young women and young men, that this is what friendship is. If I can't have you as my bestie, then nobody else can have you as their bestie. You know what I'm saying? And then you go on these girls trips and stuff like that and these types of tragedies happen, you know, um even locally, just like, you go out with your girlfriends and then it's a fight between friends that like with your friends and your other friends. They're fighting each other. They're yelling at each other. They're fighting over the tab, because they're not able to take that selfishness out where we all can be friends together. You know what I'm saying? They come with the energy of it's something that's always problematic. That's what more I was talking about right there. So we can head back into the Shanquilla, excuse me, story. You understand better now?
I've never had friends that acted that way. That's very weird to me. I know it does happen, but I just always find it weird where one person will feel like they're supposed to be your only best friend. That's it, and that's all. You betray them if you have friendships with another person. That's very weird to me. And as Time said, that's very controlling. And friendships can be just as toxic again as relationships, uh, intimate relationships. I don't know. I just find it weird when a person wants to isolate you from everybody else or they get jealous when you have friendships with other people. That's very strange. But on to Shanquella, I don't feel that any of those people were her friends because no one stood up for her.
You dropping all the bombs. Like I don't even have to say anything. Like you already dropping the bombs. And that's how I know that me and you are in sync because you just be dropping these bombs. I definitely feel you on that. I felt like none of them were her friends. I feel like maybe she might have been friends with like one of the guys or something like that, and they were their friends. But it's like as far as all the vacation photos, you never see those people on vacations with her or anything like that until this trip. That's it. They have video of her coming in the room with Winter Donovan giving her the ugly eye, stink eye, like she was getting on her last nerve or something way before the fight ever happened. Um, oh my god, my phone just restarted. You gotta be kidding me. Every time I'm trying to do something. Sorry guys. Um, so it's just to me it's like wow. It's just I wish people would. I said that in my head. I wish people would stop saying that these people are her friends I wish people would stop saying that. I think that one person defined himself as her friend, and I feel like that person needs to be held accountable as well. Because he puts himself out there. That was my friend. He went to her family's house. He ate dinner in her mother's face and lied to her mother's face and said that her daughter died of alcohol poisoning, knowing that he was caught on tape, knowing that he was on tape asking her to fight back. Hello? Like, how do you even come back from that? How do you have the balls to come in someone's home, their sacred place, and lie to their face about their child, and then go out saying that that was your friend? It's unbelievable to me the lengths that people will go to protect their own ass, and they have these false relationships with people and these fantasy bonds with people that don't exist or never existed. She seemed like a well-rounded person, that wanted to travel and have her own business, and she's pretty young too. So I would, kudos to her. Hello, for being so defined and doing her thing, and all I ever like from the beginning, I just felt jealousy. The energy off of this, I did readings on it. I'm like, it was just a jealousy thing, where they probably felt like she had it, and they, me had not had it as much as she did, and they felt like they was going to use her for all she could. Not sure why she was naked, not sure how they got in her room why she was naked, and everybody else had clothes on. I'm like, were they humiliating her? Were they not showing another video where they were ripping her clothes off? Something wasn't right with that at all. Something wasn't right with that. You know what I'm saying? So I know it's more information to come out, and sometimes we don't get all the information to the trial's over, and we had to go back and read through the trial notes, when they become public. But eventually, we're gonna find out why she was just naked and nobody else was.
I don't
You
know
know
if
what I'm
this
saying?
is true or not, but I heard that they were gonna supposed to be going skinny dipping together.
Yeah, I heard that lie.
It was a
It felt like
lie.
a lie to me. What you think?
I mean, she said, didn't she say when she came out, it doesn't take that long for you all to get naked? So
Yeah, but if you listen to her voice on the other clip and then you listen to that clip, I'm like, I wasn't sure if that was her, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. So I did hear it. I saw it and I heard it when she was walking through the hallway. But I'm like, was that really her saying that line though? Because like
right,
the video did pause.
right, that's true. I only just recently finally saw that video
Mhm.
clip where she walks. I think they showed her walking into the room. I'm not sure if it was more than one
Yeah, when
clip.
it was giving her the stink eye, right?
I didn't see them looking at her. Maybe it was a different clip. I don't recall seeing them looking at her.
Okay.
And then I just recently saw the woman attack her physically, and it just looked crazy. I couldn't believe that they showed that without even blurring out the nudity. But yeah, I don't
Mhm.
know.
Yeah, a lot of the more pristine blogs and stuff like that, they did blur out the nudity. Thank goodness, because you don't want to keep on humiliating someone like that. She seemed classy and put together. You don't want to humiliate someone even after their death. But it seemed like some people just don't care about black women. Like Miss Black came in, she came in swinging when she said what the fuck she said about how they just project people in the media and stuff like that. And it's hard. It's hard enough to get justice here for us. You know, um, but even in the attempts to get justice, I'm glad that a lot of people are blurring out the body, because her family don't need to consistently see their daughter being attacked naked, being attacked. Period. A lot of people are not even showing the fight scenes anymore because it's so violent. It's very violent. It's just like you can't say what you would have did. I know that if that was my friend, my real friend, they would have just had to. They just had to beat me up too. They just would have had to, because I'm never. I don't care who you are. I'm always jumping in. I'm never letting anybody. I don't care if I don't even know you. I'm not just gonna sit there. And that was my problem as a child. I just couldn't sit there. Just couldn't sit there and let people get bullied. I was bullied. Just couldn't sit there and let people get bullied either. No, like, because why are you doing this? I was always the president of the No Stop Bullying People Club. Like, why are you doing this? Can't we just talk it out? That's always me. Like, why are y'all doing this? What's the reason behind it? Just leave people alone. And I was so mad that all y'all grown ass men could have just took that girl and hemmed her up and got her off of her. Y'all just stood there. So I'm like, were they, like, I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but that still was a question to me. Like, were they like heterosexual males, or were they more feminine males? So they was like happy to see a fight happen. Like, what was it in them that they didn't stop that fight? I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what in them just made them stand there. And I know people say that would make a difference. That doesn't make a difference, but in some cases it might make a difference if they all feel like attacked by her, or they feel jealous of her in that way. And I'm not saying that another male that was not, there wasn't a heterosexual couldn't, that was a heterosexual couldn't feel jealous. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that why would they just stand there? So do y'all have any thoughts on why they would just stand there and not even help? That was just weird to me.
Just simple fact, none of them were her friends. None of them were her friends. And That's the only thing I can come up with. No one helped her. No one stepped in, especially there were two able bodied men who didn't stand in between these women. And the fact that she was in the nude in front of two men. Now, I don't know what kind of friendship, relationship she had with these men or whatever other circumstances. I'm not even going to put that out there. But I just find it odd. Now, her mother and I believe her father said that she slept in the nude. So did they go in her room while she was asleep and woke her up out of her sleep, which may be why it appears that she's lethargic and not really fighting back because she was shocked up out of her sleep. I don't know. I don't even know if the toxicology report has came back because I heard that her toxicology came back negative, and if that's true, then we know she wasn't drugged or drunk. So I don't know. I haven't heard anything about the toxicology report, but it appears that she might have been wakened up out of her sleep.
Yeah, Miss Rosa. They said that it showed that she didn't have no alcohol in her system. Yep. I'm gonna inbox you the lady with the whole tea. Like, I watched the same interview you did with the dad, but there's this other lady, like an attorney, and she got the whole tea bag that she was spilling. She just did another live last night, but I was sleeping. I wasn't feeling good. I seen it this morning right before the podcast aired.
Okay.
So I'm definitely going to send you the link after this so you can get a look at it, and all the tea that she was spilling. Because it's just, it's very disheartening. Having daughters thinking that my daughter wants to be a world traveler just like her, and she linked up with the wrong people, and then I never see my daughter again or talk to her again. I cannot imagine. And my condolences do go out to the family. They probably won't ever hear this podcast, but my condolences do go out to the family and friends of her and every other Black woman that's out there that's really concerned and hurt by this, because it's like every time we go on the news or something sensational is never anything a great or amazing. Unfortunately. Um, so I do have a question for you, Miss Rosa. So, do you think that if we handle more cases like this loudly in the media, that we would get better reactions for what's it called, justice in these femicide cases? That's my question for you.
If we treated each murder of Black women and girls and show the support, the outpouring to the family, demanding justice, yeah, I think we would have things would look a lot different. But unfortunately, we have the authorities who are not really friends to the Black community, you know, despite, I know the work that I do, but there is a justified apprehension with Black folks and law enforcement. I get it, I understand, but we have to give a little to get a little. Um, but also we have to overcome a lot of cultural hurdles as well, because in the Black community, Black culture, globally, Black women and girls are never truly looked at as victims. We Shanquella's circumstances uh, are a bit different, whereas we don't have videotape of the hundreds of thousands of other Black women and girls who are being murdered day in and day out. Shanquella's is unique in the fact that she has an autopsy report that refutes what the friend said initially of alcohol poisoning. And then she has the autopsy report, which would go along with that video that has went viral. So that's a unique set of circumstances. The average Black woman or girl being murdered in her community is always questioned. She's always somehow complicit in her demise or abuse, be it physical or sexual. Black women are never seen as victims by outsiders because we are as children, as girls, we're adultified, and we are looked at as being more savvy or knowledgeable as a white girl her same age. And black folks, the same thing. They'll say, oh, she was fast. Or, they make comments on she looks older than what she is, or her body is developed a certain way. And, it's just the culture, not only within the Black community, it's outside of the Black community. So Black women and girls see it twofold. If Black people in general, and when I say these things, I'm talking about these comments and things come from Black women as well as Black men. So if the Black community would actually look at every Black girl or Black woman like they did Shanquella and show this outpouring of support and question the perpetrators as opposed to the victim blaming, then we would get a lot further. There are other cultural issues that we need to change as well, but those are the main ones that I see.
Period. 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 Yes, Miss Rosa. Thank you for that. Period. 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 Exclamation point. Period. Okay. Now, Miss Tom, you want to add in on that? Period. You got me hyped up. Y'all got me amped up. Woo! Like I miss talking to you. I miss hearing your voice. I miss getting this knowledge from you because it's so important that we realize we already up against this shit. We already up against it. So like you said, if we handle every case like that and they actually investigated a little bit more and they already didn't come in with that mindset that this person was complicit in their own fucking demise, then it would be handled a lot better. And I say that with passion because I experienced it in my own self, my own family, with the criminalization, and unfortunately demise of my family member. You know what I mean? So Miss Tom,
Yeah.
you want to add anything in? Any questions for Miss Rosa? Please ask your question. Please ask your questions.
Well, I think I 100% agree as well with what Miss Rose has said. And also, I think that we're trained into, um, I think, I don't want to say complicity, but, you know, there's a whole so called community. I will say community in quotation marks, conspiracy against. And it's also set, the stage is set by women and, well, of course, men too. But women are involved in this and this criminalizing black girls and um, blaming them or misplacing blame for their victimization onto the girl, um, saying that she has some level of contributory negligence at a minimum in many cases that she couldn't possibly had a capacity to assume as a child, even if she, like it's outrageous, but it's just like these people get trained into this. That's why it's a whole conspiracy against it. So it's like, well, how do you make people aware of the risk that they're assuming by going around these jackals, basically? Like it's kind of like if you socialize with these people. I mean, like even your own family. If you're, I mean, of course you can't as a minor, like control when you're subjected to your family who's abusive, or even certain kinds of other people around you when you're a minor that you're being forced into interaction with. But it's like, how do you raise education around what constitutes abuse? What are red flags in interactions with people, family and so-called friends? How do you know, like, at least where you are, even if you can't extricate yourself, and like how you can manage it better or protect yourself more or not be deluded about what you're dealing with and think this is normal or these are family or friends. So I think that would be something to start with. And there's a lot of resistance around people accepting what constitutes abuse, because when you were asking earlier if we had experience with people you kept in your life, even though you knew they didn't seem right anymore, you really hadn't examined it, or they didn't really make any sense when you thought about it. Yeah, I had that experience and a lot of these other negative experiences with multiple people, but more especially with this former friend of mine. And I remember that same friend who came from this, she had her whole family in hindsight was just like steeped in all of this dysfunction. Not to say that mine isn't. but it was different. I guess all situations have their differences, but she like was arguing with me about what abuse was and telling me that I thought that, oh, that's just what white people say. And I think that's a problem too. That rejection of things that can be, well substantiated as abuse, based on like you're pointing to these negative outcomes, you're pointing to the harm that these behaviors cause. And these people are still like, well, they reject it as a white standard, quote unquote, or like they say, oh, well, this is normal, you know, this is what I know, this is what happens in my family. If I reject that or I quote unquote, judge that, then they see it as a rejection of their family or their culture or whatever else. So I think that we should focus on or learn ways to try to, like, as an intermediary measure, possibly, just raise awareness about what constitutes abuse and inappropriate behavior.
Now, I decided not to play the Winter Donovan comment because this podcast is really high vibrational, and I definitely will send y'all the link so y'all can hear it. Knowing that it's actually her, like from credible source. And I just don't, you know what I mean. I just don't want that type of energy up on this joint. We are coming in with positive energy. We're learning. We're here to elevate and develop skill sets. And someone like that does not deserve space here. I had to think about it. So I literally just X'd out the video. I was going to post it through the StreamYard just now, but I changed my mind because I don't feel like someone like that deserves space on this podcast, doesn't deserve space on our stages where we are as cultivated Black women who want to do things for the community to elevate, help grow, and protect. No, I don't think someone like her deserves space here. With that being said, I will ask Ms. Rosa, and thank you, Ms. Time. I want to give y'all some horns real quick for the knowledge that y'all just dropped them bombs. Period. Okay, I got my soundboard back, right? So I do want to ask Ms. Rosa, if there's anything she want to add to anything about friendships between women that she wants to add before we head out of here. I'm going to go over the difference between friends and acquaintances, and then I'm going to ask you, Ms. Rosa, to come in before we head out with your perception on how we can do things to correct the relationship we have with other women after I go over the difference between friends and acquaintances, and we talk about that. Is that okay?
Yeah, I mean, again, I use myself as an example. I believe that everyone is different. Your friends don't have to be a mirror image of you. Let's get that straight. It's important to have people who have different views, experiences, and everything. And sometimes you need to be checked on your crap. That's also what friends are for. They are supposed to, bring you into reality and not let you just run rampant with, foolish ideas. But I do feel that good friendships um, elevate one another. You kind of have the same ideals. You're trying to move in a certain way. So it's important that there is that cohesiveness where you are all are on the same page with what you're doing in life and how supportive you are. Those to me are the best sustaining relationships, right? And right now, I have a very small circle of Black women in particular who we are about our families. We can talk to each other when we are going through something, or say, because I have different types of friends, but if I want some advice on financial things that I want to do, I can bounce some ideas off of them because they have experience in that arena. I can talk to someone if I'm trying to level up in regards to certain things. I know who to talk to. So it's important that your friend circle also has a varied range of occupations, experiences, and all of that. And but you all still are on the same page of holding each other up and bringing each other down to earth when you're getting kind of lofty and full of yourself.
I definitely I feel that um I think that the prerequisition, it's a difference between having standards and boundaries, right? And a lot of the times when we are building friendships as adults, even as children, no, let's just talk about adults. As adults, that people will cross boundaries and get upset when you stick to them, and they feel like, oh, well, this person is not my friend because they're enforcing the boundary, and it's completely asinine to me anyway. That instead of respecting someone's boundaries, you decide never to speak to them again. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I feel like a lot of us come across, that when we implement our boundaries, people just decide, and it's their choice to do that. I'm not saying it's not their choice or their privilege, but I'm just saying instead of having that space where you're respecting someone's boundaries, or you're, respecting their standards they have for their existence, you decide that this person is not my friend, and now I want to do everything I can to bring them down. And that's just it reeks of mental health issues to me, and to me anyway. But it's this whole new thing out where they're saying that people could just be simply evil, and it doesn't have to be mental health related, which is a whole nother conversation. It's a whole nother conversation, honey. Um, but I did want to go over really fastly the difference between friends and acquaintances, and then we're going to head on out of here. So the difference between a friend and an acquaintance is that a person who you could talk to on an occasion and maybe see at a dinner party or a social event, but the bond of a friend or that intimate personal partner relationship or friendship is just not there, right? So some people are friends waiting to happen. That's what the acquaintances are to me. Acquaintances are a friend waiting to happen. And I feel like that, okay, you meet up with them sometimes and you just don't, you're not that open with them. You may be transparent about your life and your career, but you're not transparent about the things that matter, the personal things that matter to you. And you won't go to them for your problems and different things like Miss Rosa just mentioned, right? So a lot of the time some acquaintances have become really great friends. I met Miss Rosa as an acquaintance. Literally, I watched her for months. I listened to, well, not watched her, but I listened to her for months. And when shit hit the fan, she just stepped up out of nowhere and just like, no, I'm going to be that person for you. And she was that for me, and she's never stopped being that person for me. And it's just like, wow, I made a friend out of somebody who I would never, I just thought she was always just too busy to even inbox a question to, so it just was like, okay, I really like her, right? So I would have never thought that I would ever need her intimately or emotionally like that. So I'm just very blessed. So that's just excuse me. Go ahead, Miss Rosa.
No, I was like, yeah, a lot of people, again, I'm human just like anybody else.
Mhm.
I'll say this. I make time for people that matter to me. I'll say that. And you do matter to me.
Come on with the tear jerking stuff. You matter to me too. Thank you. I love you.
And I love you too.
Oh, come on. Come on. Come on, please. Come on. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, that was just like a story about how you can make a friend out of an acquaintance. I just always was like, wow, I never even heard of Black femicide. What's that about? I just always fought for Black women. Like, people like, no, you're just this and you're that. And you're like, wow, this is someone who does this for a living, who knows the statistics. And I was like, I'm glad that never happened to someone in my family. And then months later, boom, shakalaka, for the first time, it happened. And it was like, whoa, wow, that's crazy. But that's how we develop a friendship, from acquaintances to friends. And that's like we talked about earlier, like Miss Time, I'm building, a friendship with her, and these are people that I don't want to lose as friends. I value them, they value me. We don't have to be up each other's ass every day. you know you know we know if something's wrong, by the tone of voices, or just like if someone's exhausted, you're like, what, I'm gonna let you go right now, go ahead and get your sleep, get your rest. And it's not, oh, I'm not gonna be your friend no more because you need to sleep. We don't have that toxic trait where we don't allow other people to live, and that's so important to have when you're defining a friendship. So that's why I wanted to talk about that, because I do have two of my friends on here. And ha ha ha. I'm not teasing. I'm just saying. They support me, and I definitely support them and whatever they do, whatever they want to create. I definitely support them. So I'm just grateful to have friends, because a lot of people don't even know what friends are, and I was definitely one of those people that did not understand, um, I guess, the maintaining part of a friendship. Like you, Ms. Rosa said earlier, I'm okay with being by myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm okay with being by myself. I can teach you how to be a friend. I can teach you a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I can just be okay by being myself for months, for months at a time, and not really cultivating that kind of thing in my existence. But now I see the importance of it, and I wouldn't want to live without it. With that being said, do anyone else want to add to this topic? Drop your links, drop your websites in the comments, and we're going to head on out of here.
No, I just want to say thank you for inviting me. As always, I enjoy coming on your show.
I just want to say thank you for coming and being our special guest today. I do want to have you back again on Friendship Week. I know you're a busy person. Hopefully you do come back for more of those, some more deep conversations surrounding sisterhoods and, how to cultivate and maintain friendships. Because that's more so tomorrow. We're going to be talking about maintaining a friendship. One of the we're just going to stick to each topic each day for Friendship Week on how to maintain friendships, because like I said, it's not an easy thing to do, especially as an adult when you have your own existence. So thank you for coming in, dropping these bombs, giving us information, vital information about Miss Shankill Robinson's story, and information that we needed to know about femicide, between the difference between femicide, homicide, and friendships. And I also want to shout out to Miss Time. Thank you for coming in and dropping your information as well on how to cultivate friendships, and information that you've seen and how you received the situation and how it impacts you both. So with that being said, this has been the one, the only, the AM Inspiration Show to wake that ass up, streaming live on all networks. Definitely you can catch this episode on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Pandora, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, Clubhouse, Spoon. My goodness, you can catch it anywhere except for Apple. Oh, wah, 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 right? But that's the only place you can't catch us on. With that being said, I am your host, Coach Empress Serena Nicole, and I will catch y'all tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 days a week, 365. Period. Peace, y'all. Take care.